and guarantee yourself a very strong
Tahm
top
Kench,
matchup. But hey,
win rate, baby.
Yeah, these guys are on the same page as you. They feel like the Tahm Kench has been able to do so much again. When we have so much single target CC and pick potential in the meta, it really feels like this pick does a lot. And again, the aggression that the Tahm Kench rework has allowed him to bring in setting up these picks or these engages or even re-engages like we saw in that last game in the Baron fight. So LGD valuing that one quite heavily. I also like it as well as we have seen JinJiao, I think, be less proactive than SouthWind in terms of his map movements, right? SouthWind, both games trying to make a lot of plays with his mid and jungle. I think Tahm Kench, if he's not going to look for those aggressive plays, at least gives him a lot of utility and other options when it comes to these skirmishes and team fights.
Third time's the charm for Puff on that Jinx. Just on Jinx duty, apparently, here today. It will be a bit of a salty run back so far, at least for TT. Maybe not salty since they won it. The Xin Zhao locked in for Chieftain, looked so good on it last time around. But LGD steal away a piece from the puzzle of last game for TT as they lock in the Akali as well as the Aphelios.
Yeah, and I want to point out that this is a flex pick for the side of LGD. Both Jay and Fearness have played this pick, so not necessarily showing their hand too early for TT now. I want to see what their response will be. Instantly, instead going towards the Lulu, I like this a lot, right? Enemy picks the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, very easy to poke out with these Enchanter or poke supports, considering, like, sure, you do have the ability to dive in and find the knockup, but it's not as, I'd say, easily accessible as something like a Nautilus Hook or the Zenith Blade coming in from a Leona, which can just be so easy to set up the all-in for your jungler.
I personally really like it because it gives you a little bit of something to fall back onto, especially if things don't go super well for you early on in the game, where Snowball is king right now, I feel like, between both these two teams. We're into the second phase of bans. J4 ban away by TT. Take away some of the pieces for Shadow there. The enableization in that pick specifically. The Trundle also targeted towards Shadow. On the other side for LGD, we get the TF ban and waiting on the final ban.
Yeah, I like the bans coming out from TT, right? Taking away the Jarvan when your comp is very immobile so far, maybe even easily being able to find a 2-for-1 special and locking up both the Jinx and Lulu, setting up for some easy kills. Now for LGD, taking away the Veigar, I think it makes sense, right? I feel like Akali as well. In most lanes, you're going to struggle early regardless of what you're playing against. It isn't until that level 6 point where you're really able to find some agency. TT, though, might be able to find some skirmishing and power of their own if they do decide to lock in this Silas. I mean, you have a heavy diver in your Xin Zhao as well, but no, Mazel, no. We're going to go with the range. We're going to go sitting, contesting mid waves, winning that controlling river as LGD. Ooh.
They just lock it in, double ready to go, firing the shots. Renekton and Diana come through for the combo of LGD.
Yeah, ton of bursts coming out from this duo, right? I remember hearing Munch and Ox talking about this the other day, that when Diana, pretty much plus anything, but Diana Renekton come onto the Rift really does warp the game. If Diana can find that massive ultimate, it defines the team fight. If she flubs it, she is pretty unimpactful, a little bit useless in the rest of the team fight. So now for LGD, they're going to go back to that style that we're hitting on, right? Because we heavily expected LGD to put more emphasis on top lane. They haven't been doing that because they have just been putting Fearness on Ornn duty, but this time around, going to go back to that tried and true style, heavy divers to get on the long-range backline of TT. But TT, this time around, it's not like game one where they kind of went two directions with the Rek'Sai Blitzcrank, and then Corki Jinx is like, no, you have a solid front line in your Xin Zhao Gragas, you have your two hyper carries, and you have a Lulu there as well to buff everything up. So I think TT, again, coming out with a much better job this time around. LGD have ways of winning, but we're gonna see what Shadow's able to do on this Diana.
Can I just say that it's so beautiful? This is the culmination of this series. Both teams getting a version of what they like on the Rift, of what works for them. The obvious focus for TT towards this bottom side of the map. You've got Gragas at the top lane now, back to game one style, where you are just putting all your resources into this bottom lane of Puff and SouthWind. And on the other side for LGD, you got that Wombo combo trio on the top side. Bot lane, Eric and JinJiao, you're on your own this time around. It's Fearness, Shadow, and Jay who need to step up to the plate for LGD.
Yeah, I think especially Shadow and Jay are the two we're going to be looking at, right? We've already hit on Shadow, and again, really needing to be able to land that ultimate if he can get on the back line. But at least if he can't, Jay will be such a nuisance in terms of trying to be able to zone away, assassinate this Corki or this Jinx. But still, you do have some nice disengage and zone control on the side of Thunder Talk.
The fact that we get Fearness, Renekton in this one, the Tahm, Kench also gotten for LGD in this third game. It is all coming up aces for this first series, and it's all coming up to Summoner's Rift as we hit it for the final game of this first series. LGD versus TT, and it started early. Jay getting some damage onto him by UCal, but it's TT with these early level 1 positionings that have been so important.
Hey, UCal also comes out and gets a tiny little morsel of gold as well, right? Running the first strike. So overall, Mazel, again, we might have put our biases at bay, but I gotta say, huge, absolutely huge win for the side of TT.
It's going to be a lot like last game, too. It looks like TT want to go for that early invade onto the bottom side of the map. Shadow's going to be like, man, this has to happen again, really? I got to go start my wolves again? Seriously? Ooh. Come on.
And I think it's even better this time around, right? Because Diana, especially being a champion who needs levels to be impactful, you don't expect to see Diana really look for any plays before that level 6 mark. And even in terms of support matchup, having the Lulu against the Tahm Kench, having the range advantage in mid lane as well, it means LGD can't even posture to try to look for, like, buying time or contesting their jungle. TT get this one for absolute free. We've already hit on, we expect TT to win the spot lane matchup with the fact that they do have, you know, the Lulu into the Tahm Kench. You'll just be able to get a ton of free poke off in there. UCal having control of the mid lane matchup early on as well. LGD's only point of reprieve is Fearness in the top side.
Yeah, well, something I want to keep my eyes on is if, you know, Chieftain allows this vertical jungling, and it's not going to be so. He's already pinging towards the top side of the map, because I'll say, if you let this vertical jungling happen, you're both buying into what you want as the teams, right? Like LGD gets the top side, Chieftain gets the bottom side. But Chieftain does not want to let that happen as he's going towards his top side jungle to stop a lot of that invasion from Shadow.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Because you do have that heavy push in mid lane. UCal gonna have to start making his way over here, though, if Chieftain wants to be able to contest his buff. They should be able to get over here and look to collapse first.
UCal can't be on his way. He got priority in mid lane. This is trouble for LGD. The red buff is taken. Chieftain is dead. I don't know how that happens. It's turning up good for LGD, though. It's a 2v2 now, turning into a 2v3. But Fearness is still alive for a lot longer. He does finally die. Nuke gets the blast going over with the help of UCal. And it's just a trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, overall, I mean, Chieftain getting a little bit greedy, right? He wants to try and secure his red buff instead of just waiting, buying time, posturing, because you know UCal will be able to get there first. Instead, does go a little bit too early, does get picked off, still ends up being a 1-for-1, but I feel like that could have been much better for the side of TT than it was.
Definitely could. I do believe Nu actually made it out with the red buff after all that craziness, which is kind of nuts to me. Shadow, right back to it, though, is going to be invading there as we get a replay of this early scuffle.
Yeah, and like we're highlighting, right, UCal can move first. Since this is TT side of the jungle, Nu, of course, will be able to get here in a timely fashion, but Chieftain wants to try and be able to secure his red buff. Does go in. Nu is able to get the belly bop, and since UCal did have that prio, moves over still. Both flashes have to be committed, but in the end, they do at least pick up one kill. And like you highlighted, Nu does get that red buff. Won't be too much.
Yeah, Nu, with the red buff, is doing some work back at LGD. Shadow's like, that's what I wanted, that red buff. Fearness is there to dissuade any further follow from Nu, but a nice gank, you know, waited by Nu.
Ooh, Chieftain down the bottom side as well. I also want to highlight, I don't think Fearness got the wave into turret all the way, so Nu also did have that big stacking wave, which I think is why Shadow and Fearness also having to back off, but will open up a CS advantage for Fearness. Looks like Shadow gonna look for a gank top once again as well.
This is what we wanted, though. This is the setup we wanted. We needed to see Shadow coming up to Fearness, and they're gonna take down Nu. 2 kills on the board for LGD, and the plan is coming up.
And Fearness gets the red buff back. He's going to be able to push in this wave tonight. More CS from Nu. And again, start to stack this advantage that they need in topside when they are losing out so heavily in mid and bot. As we can see, the CS advantages mounting there for the side of TT. So again, really nice of LGD to stick to their game plan. I do feel like a lot of this is also the byproduct of that jungle skirmish. Like, sure, Nu is always going to lose. Nu is always going to get ganked and dove. but by the fact that Chieftain did die, that new was chunked out early on, UCal forced to back away as well. I feel like it set LGD up to find the level of aggression that they have been able to find in Fearness to be on 2 kills in 5 minutes.
And I think that something that's a little bit more under the radar here for both these teams is that momentum factor, is that confidence factor. And we've seen it play out a lot in the late games of this one so far, right? Where you're seeing a lot of that momentum go in the favor of either side, and then they utilize that to keep that pressure up. But I feel like with the jovialness that I saw of Shadow in the cam there when they got the kill to do, things are vibing right now for LGD. They feel really good that they're able to accomplish that top dive, even if it was a little bit crazy.
I gotta say, Mazel, is Shadow's actually going for the top gank again.
Because that's all you gotta do.
I feel like it's not necessarily the momentum for the team that's winning. It's reverse momentum for the losing team.
True.
I feel like neither of these teams know how to play from behind, and they really only know how to ram their face into whatever objective the winning team is trying to force you to fight. So,
New is not having a good time up here. Like, he just took half his health from just a quick trade of Fearness, who is also level 6. 2 levels on New. Okay, 1 since he just dinged over to 5. That's absolute pressure in the top lane for LGD. TT have to do something about this.
UCal's moving up, so UCal's at least going to look to come cover as Chieftain is looking to posture for that dragon. So at least that is one, place of reprieve, is the fact that UCal, still does have that prio in mid, so we'll be able to move over first. He will have to be more careful now because Jay is now level 6, so some kill pressure will be able to come in the mid lane. But
Jay is level 6 there. UCal is level 6 as well. Have the 2v1 advantage for TT, but they're still top because nobody's coming up here to help New. They just left them up here.
Three plates are gone.
They just don't care.
Rift Herald, and sadly they're not able to find anything more on the bottom half of the map.
Oh, here comes the Moonfall as well.
He's
New,
dead.
is he gonna get out? Oh, barely
wow.
does with the drink of the cask. New makes it out alive. A lot of LGD pressure up here, but this is a full tower potentially going over to Fearness, as TT have completely given up on that top side. This is the kind of focus that we wanted from TT, and they're looking for the dive down to Eric and JinJiao, but this is a tough dive to accomplish, and TT can't find anything.
Yeah, like, you look at TT's comp, and I mean, one, they didn't really have enough of a wave, in my opinion, to look for a dive there, but even just, you don't have a ton of burst coming out early on either. Like, I guess SouthWind would start tanking back off early on. You hope you have enough burst to take out Eric. They're very close to level 6 as well, so Devour almost being there, the Moonlight Vigil. Yeah, TT still just over 1k gold behind, but once LGD break open that top lane turret, Fearness will have a ton of pressure, be able to constantly roam down the map. You can start looking for plays where you bring, Fearness mid, move Jay down to the bot lane, look for some plays bot of your own. Like, I feel like there will be so many options open for the side of LGD, but hey,
this is the option.
Rift Herald fight's coming up.
This is the option. This is the only option in the LPL. 8 minutes comes on the board. There's just a natural instinct. Get all 10 members in front of the Rift Herald pit, because that's how we do it. But LGD definitely feeling the more confident of the crew, especially with Fearness having such a lead on the top side. New is still 2 levels down. Has to utilize the abilities to just get away from that engage. And now LGD have TT completely surrounded. UCal trying to take out Jay on the side in a 1v1. It's a 4v4 in front of the Rift Herald pit. It is still in favor of TT right now as they have control over the Rift Herald, but no, it's stolen from Shadow. The Moonfall to 4-man Abyssal Dive on JinJiao. What is happening to TT? They're being dusted, and it's just the execution for LGD. But now SouthWind and the rest of the crew are able to turn back the time, and TT make it out without losing much more, but they lost Chieftain and the Rift Herald.
Man, that was so nice coming out from LGD. They start walking aggressively towards the Herald, which opens up JinJiao to find that massive knock-up.
He's going to go for it.
LGD taking everything so far.
SouthWind realizing there could be a suspicious catfish in the bushes there. Just use his spidey instincts to make sure he doesn't die to JinJiao. Yeah,
and we're starting to see advantages just open up everywhere, right? You have, an XP advantage in support where JinJiao now 6 and SouthWind's 5. XP advantage in mid, Jay sitting level 8 compared to 7 on UCal. Fearness is 8.
There's
New is still 5.
He doesn't even have his ulti yet. Like, this is terrifying. Finally gets it. All right, but the tower, the big thing I feel like is LGD have not gotten the towers just yet. Maybe that's by design to force New to stay up this far, but Fearness making the outplays here, dodges out of the cask.
I mean, right? there's always like these types of discussions around like keeping the turret up longer to force an extended laning phase, but Gragas freezing, like Gragas not going to get too much out of you know, an extended lane, as we're going to see what happens here. But again, the Tahm Kench right there, the 4-man knockup, pretty much isolates Chieftain, allowing him to go down. Fearness flashing over the package to be able to guarantee that kill. Just absolutely beautiful coming out from the side of LGD. And again, LGD are also the team with the Rift Herald. And they know they don't need to dedicate it towards the top side. Fearness will just be able to naturally take out this turret in the 1v1. LGD are looking for plays in bot lane right now, setting up a dive.
They've got 4 members down here. SouthWind is running that way. He will make it in time, and Shadow realizes this dive will not go through. Eric and JinJiao get a turret plate at least. But now we got pings from LGD towards this mid lane.
Look, Mazel, the prayers clearly weren't strong enough.
Honestly, you get a prayer session in real quick?
I was going to say, I'm not a memer. I'm not a Twitch chatter or a YouTuber. I don't know if there's already a TT copy pasta out there, but if there isn't, one needs to be made right now to give TT some energy.
You're fine. You're fine. If you want to throw out an LGD copy pasta, then that's completely fine with me. I don't know about the TT one. Tower still alive in the top side. Fearness not able to knock that one down just yet, but again, we still have some time to go. Yukao in some trouble himself against Jay in the mid lane, but we have Dragon on the board. Dragon number 2 will be a Cloud Dragon. Not a lot of focus as we have both junglers towards the top side right now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad too, since Nu is struggling so heavily in that 1v1 matchup, having to buy the early Bramble Vest. But, you know, Shadow being on an AP jungler, not going to do anything if Shadow is able to find that massive engage onto him. So Shadow just moves up here to ensure that Fearness is able to take this one easily. Also guarantees the Krug camp to come out. So I wonder if LGD would... Oh, go on.
Just
you go, Mazel.
I just want to break down here because the numbers are screaming at me. And I don't do well with numbers, all right, Lyric? But Nu is down 3,000 gold. He's got half the CS that Fearness has. And still, to an extent, I agree with it, but TT just can't find a response up there. Now is the troubling part for me, is when Fearness is unlocked and can come into the fights, and that combo of the move ball plus the dominance damage and Fearness on top of everybody is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, and again, right now it's open. Now Fearness pretty much unlocked from the map. Can look to push out, hover around mid. You have that Rift Herald, so I think for the side of LGD, you should have a very easy setup in mid. Just commit both Shadow and Fearness to the mid lane, drop down the Herald, get some plates down. Looks like Shadow might just look to do it himself. SouthWind is on a timing though, will be here, but still shouldn't really be able to stop this one from going down. Second Dragon is up as well, so I feel like LGD should be...
Felt like they wanted to actually try to get the charge in, but it is TT who... Oh, no. Oh, no. Fearness, stop! Jesus!
You know,
come on, man!
I was just about to comment how, again, LGD, like, you should have just committed Renekton to mid lane to guarantee the Rift Herald going off. But hey, at least Fearness finds something somewhere else on the map, able to guarantee that kill. Now pulls Yukao from mid, which is going to allow Jay free time with the turret. It's going to set up for LGD to be able to take out that Dragon. And this is what we're hitting on, right? It just opens up so many avenues when you break down this so early in the game. And you don't really have something that, like, sure, again, Nu could try and, like, hold the wave as much as he can, get some more farm under his belt, catch up, but ultimately, I feel like LGD have so many options, considering that they do have this, like, heavy dive-oriented top side, where they can just try and commit Fearness, Shadow down towards that bottom side, and even just zone them up.
Why we gotta do this to Nu, man? Why we gotta do this to him?
Yeah, gets the damage down, charges up for the empowered W to come out, and I mean, he's pretty much dead by the time Nu is able to even get that cast
It's
out.
been a constant 2-level lead. Absolutely. Like, almost the entire game. Since level 5 for Nu, it has been a 2-level lead for Fearness the entire game, and it does not show any hint of slowing down at this point. It will, right, peter out a little bit if the game goes super late. You do still have a lot of scaling options, as we've mentioned, for TT in this game, especially Yukao and Puff. But we've already seen it play out early on. The pressure gain from this top lane just unlocks so much for LGD.
So, I just want to highlight real quick, Mazel, just because we're seeing on our minimap. Yukao's moving down to bot. Yukao's the package. He knows Rift Herald's about to come up. They know they can't get this to top side. So TT are trying to make an aggressive play on bot with that package.
Got a back from Houston there on the top side.
Oh, wow,
so
I guess.
Have the wherewithal to pull off that dive in the bot lane.
Wow, I guess Yukao... I don't know.
3 levels now. Lyric, it's getting worse. He's just taking
I don't know.
the tower up here. I don't think I've ever seen anybody just left so much on the top side. But, oh my god, Nu. He actually gets a ton of damage now. The TP's coming in from UCal. Can they get... Oh, it got canceled in the mid lane. Wow. Is that the Gravitum?
Might have been as... Again, I might have just been delusional before in seeing that UCal the package when he was moving down. But again, like, I don't really care too much about this top 1v1. I want to see Fearness start using his momentum to move, to enable, again, for these Herald plays to come out. Looks like LGD should be fine now with the fact that they have committed their bot lane to mid and have Jay just covering inside lane, so this will be able to come off.
It was the Moonlight Vigil Gravitum that got the stop on the TP, saving Fearness' life. Now they're going into mid lane. First tier tower falls. Fearness is here to join the team, and they're going to get another charge off this Rift Herald.
Yeah, really nice by them. And again, now they are committing Fearness to hover over. It opens up for Shadow to be able to take these Raptors on the top side. And for TT, I mean, having to dedicate 5 members to try and cover the potential aggression coming up from LG in the mid lane allows for Jay to just have free time with this bottom lane turret.
Still about 60 CS up is Fearness, but here is the response from TT. Package not available for UCal. They wanted to try and catch out Jay. Won't do so, but still the focus on bottom lane for TT as usual.
Yeah, and for the side of TT, I mean, right, because now we got to start thinking about ways TT get back into the game.
I hear the laughs.
I mean, it's a rough one, right? I mean, for TT, what they're trying to do is just find picks on Fearness topside with how aggressively he's playing. But I really do feel like you are very reliant on a mistake coming out from LGD to be able to, you know, bring this back in striking distance. Still a few minutes away from Baron being up and maybe potential like baits coming out from LGD to force engages. A minute and a half from Dragon as well. You would assume LGD will get those, and TT should just be looking to say, hey, the next few Dragons are yours. We just need to be looking to get gold back on the map elsewhere. You can control bot when it's Dragon timing. We'll look to farm up our camps, clear waves in both top and mid, and just try to get to the point where your Jinx and Corki are relevant enough to where they can start contending in these team fights.
And I will say, the Mythics coming online will definitely help TT to some extent, but the item differential is going to continue to grow here if they can't find a way to kind of plug those holes, maybe get some Flexi Seal in there, some duct tape, or something along those lines, because the item advantage will be very hard to deal with, especially against a comp like this, where each item is such a big damage threshold for the position.
Yeah, especially when we look at, again, things like the double rocket belts coming out in mid-jungle, very easily being able to get onto their targets. Just tons of ways to close distance for the side of LGD. And for the fact that they haven't been able, Moonlight Vigil, not going to be able to do anything. For the fact that they weren't able to really find a massive advantage elsewhere, like Eric isn't behind either, it's like, cool. Eric doesn't have to be afraid of like anyone getting on top of him like Chieftain or Nu. Yeah. He just will be able to follow up the dive with his own Gale Force as well to try to find these aggressive kills. So LGD coming to mid now to gain some pressure. Dragon is about to come up.
So I will say, Fearness absolutely smashing lead in the top side. Nu is actually catching up a little bit. Not in terms of CS all that much, but in terms of pressure, right? Like, you're seeing a little bit of damage given there to Fearness, but he's still the Gragas. He's still got the cask, and he's catching up levels, at least to some extent. So it's not like Nu will be used. The picks are crucial for TT.
I also want to highlight, like, even though, yes, obviously, like, Nu did make a lot of mistakes, I feel like Chieftain was also part of his downfall. Not only from the level 1, not level 1, but, you know, like I think it was level 2 or level 3 skirmish at red buff, but then also not providing him any cover afterwards where it should have been very telegraphed what LGD were going to be looking to do. Even for Chieftain, you look at like mid and bot, you don't really have too many aggressive plays available as Nu.
They're coming up here. They're getting TP'd behind again. They need to shut down Fearness. SouthWind is here. There is no way Fearness is getting out of this one. This is going to be a big shutdown for UCal if they can deliver it to him. Mega Death Rocket comes across. Fearness is still tanking him up, but he's going to die surely, but slowly, and give UCal the shutdown.
Yeah, flashes forward, gets a stun off on UCal. I don't know what his cooldown on Slice and Dice was. I'm not sure if he was trying to buy time for that to come up. Then, like, no, you flash forward, you stun, you E through the Corki, gives you another charge that you can try and get away. Or if he maybe was just hoping he would have enough burst damage with his lead to try and get one in return. But Point is, Fearness, you know, looking for a play along those lines to try and get something back. Still, though, this isn't going to turn into too much tangible map pressure for the side of TT. Just going to get the gold and, you know, the shutdown from taking Fearness down. So we get the replay. Like you highlighted, we see SouthWind making his way up now. The TP coming in from UCal as well. Damage coming through. Dominus is popped. SouthWind is able to get away. And again, Flash coming out from Fearness to get the stun on UCal.
Shadow almost found SouthWind on that transition there behind the Baron pit as we come back into live, but nothing coming of it just yet. I want to highlight UCal really quick because that kill gave him the finishing of the Luden's Echo, but as well as the stop early on for the Hex Drinker, I think is so interesting, especially going against Shadow and Jay. We'll see if Shadow can make it out. Mega Death Rocket, he goes golden to buy some time from it, but he dies anyways. UCal gets the kill. Another one, a second in a row, and mid pressure is all TT now.
And this pretty much is the crux of Corki plus Jinx, right? The fact that you do have the range, you do have the AoE, but LGD look for the engage.
Moonlight Vigil does not connect. Jay tries to get on a puff, but he can't find it. There's Fearness in the middle of everybody. He's tanking up a store, but Jay's in some trouble now. He's in the Shroud. Eric's still pumping up some damage. He's got the Caliber now. Jay out of there, but JinJiao is the tankiness now as Fearness is going back in. He can't survive. He dies. Now Puff is excited, but Puff gets blown up by the catfish. And now you've got to deal with Eric throwing the chakrams to your face and TT back away.
Yeah, so tragic that Jay wasn't able to find that E onto Puff. It was so close to landing. Puff flashing at the last second. UCal!
He does not get Eric, but they do get JinJiao.
We said this, Mazel. We teed this up. We set it up. It doesn't matter. The gold lead coming through with TT versus LGD. TT able to find the pick here to come back in. We're going to go straight to the replay. We see Shadow getting caught out trying to brute force his way into mid from River. But TT already having control with, you know, 4 members strong coming through. TT had to keep up the siege. Keep your eyes on the Akali here. New doing a nice job as well to block this, but Puff flashing at the perfect time. He was right about to connect. Since Puff is able to survive, they're able to get all the DPS off. Exhaust straight onto Jay, so not able to bring out any meaningful damage. And then I'm a bit surprised Fearness goes in here. He does have the Gore Drinker available, so I think thinking maybe get a bit more back and try and buy space for Eric to come in.
Oh, poor Puff. Just gets licked to death there at the very end after all that craziness going back and forth. But it is TT who find themselves on some stable ground at least. Still 5,000 gold in the deficit, but they found a fight. Their team composition will do this constantly if they can position correctly.
I also want to highlight the Void Staff coming out for Jay. When you highlight the Hex Drinker on UCal, of course, new building tank, and even Puff right now sitting on a Null Magic Mantle. Nice of Jay to preemptively get all of that magic penetration with TT already stacking that one. So, Dragon, 50 seconds. Again, LGD will have prio. They will have control. We're finally starting to see what we were hitting on earlier about, like, hey, again, when your side lanes are winning out so much, use that. Don't just hard force sit under the enemy tower with your Renekton against Gragas. You honestly shouldn't be able to get any meaningful damage off by the time TT can commit more members to answer that push. Start rotating your members over, getting deep vision in the enemy jungle, looking for picks, or even just forcing TT to try to walk into you blind. I feel like there's a lot of options that LGD have that they weren't using earlier because of the size of their advantage. They feel like they can make those aggressive plays, but now doing it properly. UCal, though, has the package.
There is a huge item advantage there for LGD, though, and as we got the back completed for a lot of the members, they're coming back out for the Dragon. UCal has to back himself, has the unleashed TP to get back into the fight if he needs to and wants to, but it's LGD, as you kind of said, are set up for this fight.
Yeah, right now, though, TT trying to brute force their way in. UCal able to TP just right back into the package. We need to keep our eyes on Jay. Jay and Shadow, like we said, could be the big difference makers in these team fights, even though Fearness might be the big one.
LGD doesn't need to fight this, but they want to. You just feel it instinctually in them. They have the package. Jay is used, but it's not going to be onto anything, really. Not finding the damage they wanted to. The Dragon's still continuing here. Jay on the side. Chieftain just goes in. The Dragon resets. Now Fearness getting his health bar chunked out, and the rockets are starting to pop. Lethal tempo is activated for Puff. Shadow goes in with the Moonlight Vigil. There's the wombo combo you needed, but Chieftain with the Crescent Guard gets a ton of the damage back. Jay is back into the fight, though. This is the Akali you got to deal with. The Shuriken Flip is there. New is separated from the rest of his team, trying to run away. UCal with the damage onto Eric. gets one back, but can they do much more? Valkyrie out, SouthWind there as some support. Abyssal Dive goes through, but LGD back away.
Ultimately, really nice by the side of LGD, right? Trying to wait out that package. Timing is New. You are probably dead once again, as New does go down. Soul point for the side of LGD. UCal pretty much being the only hope for the side of TT at this point.
Really is 4-0 on this Corki. The package was a little bit preemptive. He really wanted to get Jay out of the fight, but it did not matter. It is too fluid for the Akali, and the damage has to be concentrated. You see in all these fights, UCal is like, no, I could turn this around. I got this. And he is consistently pulling back kills left and right. But is it enough is the biggest question.
Not if Shadow's able to find those opportunities like he just did, set up for Fearness to be able to follow through, as well as Eric. I do feel like UCal's package was about to time out, which is why he committed to that awkward angle. Because let's remember, he had package, then he was forced to recall, then he did TP back in with the package. So was sitting on that one for quite a while. Now for LGD, going to start posturing up towards his top side again. Look for deep vision, try to find these aggressive picks. It looks like on the minimap they have their waves set up to push into bot side. Someone on TT will have to answer that at some point, so LGD can try and use that to, again, get numbers advantage top, look for these aggressive skirmishes, but Fearness right now going to be just sitting in the enemy jungle bot side, so not actually going to commit to that plan. They are going to send him to put more immediate pressure on that bot half of the map.
TT kind of realizing the situation they're in. We're trying to pull the trigger on a JinJiao, but it will just be the side lane pushing, continuing for LGD. They do get another objective, at least, for themselves. But TT and the rest of the squad just kind of posting up in mid lane, trying to get Puff as far ahead as they can. Has a decent CS lead, but it's nothing to write home about. Still waiting on that third item spike for both of these ADCs.
Yeah, and I think, you know, again, with TT just grouping mid like you just hit on, I think TT have the right idea. They know keeping New to answer side waves against Renekton won't do anything. So just try and find a window where you can be like, hey, you get out the push here. We try and find a pick in mid. Does open up for Fearness to push out that wave, though, and again, make the transition to mid first. But TT playing very safe. They have the range to be able to clear these waves from afar. So for TT, just buying time to get to those next item breakpoints.
And quick little aside, really, Eric is sitting on the Sever right now with no charges. He's just waiting to utilize the ability to get all the chakram stacked up, and I think Eric is really playing this one very high-brained, at least. And TT got to find a way to kind of turn it around. The red buff is appealing to an ADC. It will be utilizing that Severum to make sure he can get that one. So now having the Calibrum and the chakrams, a little bit more range to deal with the range poke that's coming out of TT. But Puff going forward.
Oh, wow.
Is the Mega Death Rocket actually goes wide there. Eric takes the zap, but you've got Jay and Shadow on the side. Chieftain just walks straight into him. There's no way he can get out of that one. Shadow trying to use the Hextech belt over to get closer for the Moonfall, but doesn't get the distance he needed. Still has the Wombo combo available, and TT are looking worse for wear.
Oh, wow. And LGD going straight to trying to force this Baron, keeping Shadow on the flank. Shadow going to look for an easy way in onto Puff. Puff does have flash up.
Oh, the Moonfall into it, and SouthWind is dead. Jay's hunting down UCal here, has the Shuriken flip going in for it. The package isn't going to do much. Fearness chasing him down with the dominance. Jay goes down to UCal, and there is the saving grace for TT. The damage needed. Fearness gets the flash out of UCal himself.
Yeah, still, we saw Jay get a little bit overzealous there trying to follow up on UCal. Just going straight into the package. LGD still feeling confident on turning Art of Despair, and Chieftain is back up. Chieftain does have Smite available, so might turn to a bit of a Smite fight. I wonder if LGD instead will posture for the turn.
Aphelios here, the Baron going down. It is taken by Shadow, and the beautiful Moonlight Vigil will come out to save the day. Eric gets a double kill, and TT are dusted.
Yeah, TT gonna have to back off from this one. Trying to hold up hope that they can find some sort of steal, or at least, you know, get the poke off with the Corki rockets, use that chix range, chunk some people out, and maybe set up for a few kills on exit. And heck, Dragon's up in 10 seconds. This will be soul for the side of LGD, but he goes straight into the replay. Shadow finds it onto SouthWind. Puff did have flash, so he was able to get away, but still, UCal.
Wild Growth was available.
Go down.
Wild Growth
but
was
still,
available for SouthWind as well, not able to pull the trigger on it.
Jay Jay a little bit overzealous with that one. Lands the E onto UCal. Of course, UCal had the package. Maybe thinking, hey, like, sure, I might die, but I'll buy time for the rest of my team to be able to get here to try to find some kills. Wasn't true. UCal now sitting 5-0-2. Does not feel like it matters, as the Infernal Soul was picked up by LGD.
Question though, I'm looking at New, and he has finished the Ravenous Hydra as his third full item completed. Interesting with that AP build, having that implemented in there, and having a little bit of a different damage spread. But talk about damage spread, it's LGD all day long, baby. It's J double, and we'll see if they can continue to go through for LGD. That was a big engage for Shadow and Jay, and now it just feels like the pressure is on for TT. They are into their base, they are backed into a corner, and LGD want to take this victory. They want to be the ones to put that 2 in the series win column. This will be first in hip falling in the mid lane, second in hip quickly to follow at the bottom.
Yeah, and I mean, right, it's felt like a matter of time since the early game. Sure, LGD have made some missteps. They've given over some kills. They've still always been the team in the driver's seat. You don't have certain ultimates available, like no Moonfall for Shadow.
They can get the first tower down, now onto the second here. New trying to separate everybody with the cast, but he's just going to be burned down. The tower's still alive. Moonlight Vigil comes out. That's a kill for Eric, and LGD will finish it off. Can they? Eric is the one that stays true. He gets the Nexus, and LGD win this series 2-1.
Great to see coming out from LGD, having 2 very decisive games against TT. Again, one game where they did just kind of roll over, did bring out that comp that was pretty much full scaling, but still great to see from them. Sorry, Thunder Talk, my prayers